Okay, picking up from where we left off. Zero Escape, the Nonary games. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. And, yeah, carrying on. Let's see.
Threw myself against the door a few times, but it wouldn't budge. I knew it. I gave up and made my way back to the bed. It sat.
Exploring these cell rooms.
I sat there for a very, very long time. Who knows how long. Then, I heard a faint voice. The voice was far away. I couldn't understand what it was saying. But I could hear one. It was pretty high. Probably a little kid. No, it was several. I hear 5 or 6, maybe more. Where? Where are they coming from? I pressed my ear to the wall and tried to listen through it. No, that's not it. Left. It's coming from under the bed. I hauled on the metal frame and flipped the thing over. And there it was. The bed had hidden an air vent under it. The hole in the wall was covered by a metal grate. I dropped flat on the floor and peered through the grate. I couldn't see shit, but I knew it in my gut. This was where those voices were coming from.
I don't think you'd need to know it in your gut. You'd kind of hear it from your ears.
Hold on. Why are there kids here?
Why are there kids here?
Then when my inside man told me, popped into my head.
Tonight, a ship is set to take the children to a large passenger liner docked offshore.
Uh-oh.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Am I on that ship?
I think you'd be able to feel the swaying of the ship.
It didn't matter. All I knew was I had to get to those kids.
I like to use the word had to. Had to. Okay.
I checked out the metal grate. Could I fit?
No.
I stuck my fingers in and grabbed it. Then...
I like how they're showing a picture of the toilet when he does that. I wonder if that'll be the
yeah.
thumbnail.
How do you like that, you son of a bitch? I finally got the damn thing off. Sweat was dripping down my face, so I wiped it off and crawled inside.
Junpei waited for Seven to resume his story. The longer he waited, however, the clearer it became that Seven had no intention of doing so. He had gone silent and simply stared off into the air, his eyes blank.
What happened after that?
He waited long enough, but Seven shook his head.
I don't remember what happens after that. I think I found some kind of door out of the duct. And I think I found some kids too.
We know what room this is from the first ending.
Not good. Why can't I remember what happened next?
Ah, man, what happened to the kids, Seven? Did you save them?
I don't know. I don't know if it was me. I've got this feeling. I think one of the kids died. A girl, I think.
Huh?
Deep in his heart, Junpei felt something very cold. Seven's head dropped and Junpei saw a look of sadness, the likes of which he had never seen on the man before. The large man's eyes blinked rapidly as if he were fighting back tears, and he swallowed hard. His sigh was like the melancholy setting of an old, abandoned building. He shook his head and spoke.
Anyway, just please don't ask me anymore, okay? I really don't remember anything else.
After that, Junpei could hardly try to force any answers out of the
It's
other
fine.
man.
Don't push yourself. Going by what he said?
Junpei left Seven to pull himself together and instead began thinking everything over.
The children who had been kidnapped 9 years before? Apparently a company called Cradle Pharmaceuticals
rebels had been behind it all. They'd taken the children to the same ship we're on now. They'd been brought here for an experiment. Seven said it had something to do with controlling human beings. The 16 children who had been kidnapped were the subjects. Seven had said 3 of their names were Aoi, Light, and Nona. I think that's all I got. Oh, and Seven is, or was at some point, a cop.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really use any of this information anyway. I didn't learn anything about the Nonary game or Zero. Why were we brought to the same ship where they'd done those experiments 9 years ago?
Why indeed?
And just what the heck is this about controlling human beings?
It's gonna be one of the big, yeah.
That's nuts. Did they really conduct an experiment like that?
Before long, Junpei realized he had spent quite some time deep in thought.
Time to just stand here thinking. I need to get moving.
You need to get moving. Junpei shook his head quickly to clear it and returned to his investigation, thoughts swirling in his mind. Okay. And push the tile out. Yep. Stray blanket on the bed. The bed is really dirty. Sun symbol. Why do we still have the drawer without a handle? Check out the handle, it's just hanging there. Alright. Yeah. Nothing. Alright, I already got that. Okay, I can flip between the two sides. What's in this? What's in this room? Interesting, a slit of light. Just barely see a mirror from the light coming through the ceiling. Should be nice if that mirror was a little lower down. Looks like the same height as the mirror on the right. I wonder if that means anything. I'm gonna have to reflect some light, aren't I? Alright, let's try. That's a towel? Okay. Sink, there's no light shining on it. Trying to be sure because it's so dark in here. I don't think there's anything going on with the sink. Also, it's too hard to turn. $14 equals E. Alright. That is true in hexadecimal. Yeah. Toilet paper. It's still white enough for me to know what it is, even in the dark. There's nothing out of the ordinary about it. But I can get... Damn it. It pisses me off that I can see it, but I can't touch it. That seems weird. Alright, now the... Blanket, not our great one, but still. Lights apparently have to see ghost or something. Yeah. Alright, I guess we'll be opening this anytime soon. Doesn't look like it's got a keyhole and there doesn't seem to be anything stopping it. How the hell am I supposed to open it? Well, we'll see. Emergence. Emergence, maybe it means we need to emerge here. Alright. Where it goes. I thought of that and I tried a couple things, but yeah, same result. The 7 wasn't about to do anything. Oh. Alright, it won't open. Ceiling. I'm glad we... It's a bulge in the wall. A lot of ceilings in my time. This one rates about a 3.5. Junpei. Drawing on the mirror looks like a part of the design on the towel, and the design on the towel has a river and a spring, right? Picture on this mirror is a spring, and it's the talking about the water in the sink. So the water bubbled up and pushed the tile out, yeah. Alright. Sun. Handle. Looks like a toilet. Pretty old school toilet. Guess that makes sense though. This ship seems pretty old too. I mean, are there supposed to be like fancy toilets? Oh, maybe put the other drawer in here? You already took the drawer out of this desk, alright. Totally filled with water. I think it's totally filled with water. Moon. Moon here. It's very, very old toilet. Apparently Lotus refuses to touch it ever. String hanging from the ceiling here. You pull it to flush the toilet. Half-used toilet paper. Well, it's old and it's kind of grossing me out, but there's nothing suspicious about it. Alright, well, hey. That's it. So without the pillow. So it's still a terrible bed. You know, when you're right, you're right. Never sleep in a bed like that. Look under the bed. Can't look under the bed. No. Alright, this is in that mirror. Yeah, we already looked in there. Nothing in the drawer. Let's deal with the lighting here. There's just this one beam of light. This place is too dark, can't see anything. There's no way I can explore the rest of this room. Oh, I still have this thing. Oh, hey, it's a mirror. So I'm gonna be able to use this mirror for reflecting stuff, right? There's nothing else we can do with it. Other stuff to do with it. You want to break it? I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, we can use the mirror to reflect the light. Now I just gotta figure out where to reflect the light. Go somewhere that's a little easier to shine light on. So if I shine this light on the mirror and back. Oh hey. You get it. Shine the light on a mirror, symbols appear. Left side has sun and the right has a moon symbol. I'm gonna remember this. Let's put that on. 4 and 7. Alright. Four and 7. Sun 4, Moon 7. Alright, let's try that. Okay, now I can flush. 2, 3, 4. Did you just hear something? I did, but it doesn't look like anything happened. I wonder what the sound was. Man. I know you've got a blind player, but having a deaf player would be almost as bad in these kind of life or death scenarios. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jimmy, did you hear something from the other room? The other room, you mean from the dark room? I guess that's what it's supposed to be. Alright, 3 blind mice. Oh, hey. Hey, got tiles. The desk is old and rusty. Tile of the river and a spring. I don't think I'll need it here. Alright. Can I combine it? No. How about these guys? Can I? No. Alright. I'm gonna use them for something eventually. Well, it's clear you're supposed to connect the lines. Alright. Emergence. All the rooms. The only mystery left is that door. Let's crack that mystery then. We've got 4 tiles. There are a bunch of tiles that are the same size of on that wall there. So replace 4 of the tiles on the wall with the ones we've got. That should open the door. But there's only one way to find out. Oh, they all say 14 in red. Man, this game would suck if you were colorblind. Alright. Does that mean we got it right? Yes, it looks like we did. The 14 hidden on the tile. Convert that to hexadecimal, it's an E. So basically the E's in emergence are the 14s from the tiles, yeah. So if we replaced it, it gives us the answer. Do you really care why it worked? Let's just get out of here. Yes, let's go. You found it. They passed through the open door and headed to the next room. Junpei jogged down a short staircase and looked around. Yeah, I don't know if I played through this one originally.
What the hell is this
I
place?
think I would remember this electric chair looking thing. Giving me some serious flashbacks to the 3rd game in the series. The words had sprung unbidden to his lips, but it was clear why. Junpei shivered. Lotus and Seven reached the bottom of the stairs and stopped short, terrified.
This room is really creepy.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think we ought to get the hell out of here now.
1 second. He jogged up the stairs the opposite side of the room and shook the door on the wall next to the catwalk. No dice. It didn't open, and he muttered to himself.
Figures.
It's locked, isn't it?
Yep. Don't know why I thought this would be any different.
So, what is this room for, anyway?
Executions? Torture? Don't know. Junpei looked around the room again.
Well, there's a chair in the center of the room.
Well, the ball and chain's gonna...
Oh, looks uncomfortable to say the least. I'd rather not sit in it if I can avoid it.
The back of it was covered with electrodes connected to a nest of
Looks
wires.
like it's placed over some kind of glass panel. Too dark to look through it, though.
Junpei turned to look at the right side of the room. There was a table covered with a piece of cloth.
This isn't dried blood on the tablecloth, is it?
On top of the table were a number of metal instruments. Junpei didn't know what they were for, and he had a feeling he didn't want to find out.
Oh, what the hell is this?
Oh man, springs, hammer, hatchet, wrench, pliers, some kind of saw. Oh man.
What are these tools for?
That's not something I even want to think about.
No. Junpei shook his head in an attempt to clear it and tried to focus on something else.
No doubt about it. This room's dangerous.
Yeah.
Let's make our search quick so we can solve the puzzle and get the hell out of here. Come on.
Seek a way out. Alright. Okay, the torture room isn't stupid huge. Alright. You can even look at the ball and chains. A, B, C, D, E, F. Hexadecimal. All the dials are pointing in different directions. So maybe something will happen if we turn them? Huh. Shoot, they're all rusted. I guess turning them doesn't really do anything. The needle on the gauges is at 0. Look, it's going to move. There are a bunch of buttons here with letters A through F on them. I wonder if they do anything. Down you go. So if I press it again, back you come. Guess these button switches, something are off when you push them. Alright, well we don't know what they do yet, so... These levers have got to turn something. Of course they would. All I can do is turn something on or off. What's important is what they turn on and off. Don't say the floor is going to suddenly open up. Red, yellow. Do you think the colors mean something? No idea. I mean, red looks more dangerous, but other than that... The bottom of this one looks like it's covered in rust. Don't think it'll move at all. There are a ton of knobs here. Doesn't seem like any of them will do anything though. You think it's broken? Gonna look at that in a minute. Looks like this catwalk goes across half the room. No, I guess we can't force one open the figures. If it were that easy, we wouldn't be having this tough of a time. Well, it isn't, so why don't we have our tough time of it and figure out a way to open the door. There's nothing suspicious about these lights. Thank you. They're a little blurry from the dust, but that's about it. They're a little bit blurry from the resolution of the game. How about that? What's wrong, Junpei? What are you doing on the floor? I thought maybe if I got down here I could see through the glass. It's not working though. I don't think it's just a large sheet of glass they put onto an indentation. I don't know, I mean, why would they do that? And the placement of the chair. You're not making sense, Junpei. What's your point? Well, I'm not sure, but don't you think there's something under the glass? Well, yeah, I mean, we're gonna come back to that. Hey, there are a number of ominous looking tools and instruments here. Let's see, we've got an adze and a hammer. I've never heard the word adze. Adze? I don't know. A pair of forceps. These other things are too old and broken. I have no idea what they are. Hey, doesn't this wrench look way too new to be here with this other stuff? Yes, it does. I didn't notice it before you mentioned it, but it's not rusty at all. Hey, I got a wrench. The wrench looks brand new. Considering where we found it, I have to wonder how it was used. Knock it off. I don't want to think about that. I've already seen plenty of things that are a lot more cruel than that. Hey. You're unexpectedly sensitive. Damn, Lotus. Come on, let's not talk about this stuff. It doesn't matter, okay? We need to find somewhere where we can use this thing. Alright. I don't think there's anything else there we need. Interesting. Cover's bolted on pretty good. Hey! Sweet, it opened. The hole's too small, you can't see anyone with the cover off. Well, you can't see him, but I think there's enough room to stick your arm in. Are you sure you want to do that? There could be something dangerous in there. Okay, I admit that scares me a little, but if we need to see if there's anything useful in there. Alright, here we go. Arm into the hole. Hey, I think I can feel something. Small, cold, and hard. Doesn't feel like there's anything else in here. Let's see what this thing is. Hey, it's the sun key. Do-do-do-do. Give the sun symbol on it. We should be able to open the other door with this. Yeah, but we gotta get out of this room before we can do that. And we're probably gonna need the sun key to do that. But none of the doors in this room have keyholes. I bet we gotta use it on something that's not a door. Well, we'll see. Anything else, man? No. L-shaped pipe and straight line are both connected to this tank thing. Pretty big pipes, but that tank is even bigger. Alright, let's see. Of course, the entrance is locked. It's been like that in every room we've been in. What do you expect? There's no point trying to go back. Let's just think about forward, alright? A lot of dust on the light. Been used in a long time. Bunch of pipes up near the ceiling. There's gonna be a puzzle up there. At least I hope not. Can't even reach them. All these cables are running out of the chair. Can't see them very well, but they look like they're connected to some wires up in the ceiling. If you look at it from here, the catwalk's pretty high up. Makes the stairs pretty steep. We'd better be careful going up and down them. Stairs go to the exit. Irrelevance running. Alright. Something on the screen. This device will conduct the experiment. Once the experiment has been completed, the door will unlock. First, adjust the switches to match the blocks in the sample above. Huh? I don't know what this thing is, but we gotta figure out this puzzle. It's right next to the torture chair. Whatever it is, I don't think it's good. Anyway, we just adjust the switches to match up the blocks on top, right? You adjust the switches shown at the four corners of the screen and then press the check button. Shinpei, we don't know what this thing does. You can always come back to it later. There are lots of other things you can do. Ten, 10, 9, 10. Ten, 10, 9, 10. It's hard to figure out what the button does. But if you want to see how many blocks each switch adds, just turn on one switch. When all of them are off, there aren't any blocks, right? Then you can see how many switches. Oh yeah, I get it. Alright. Let's look at the chair first. The sun key should fit into the keyhole on these manacles. Alright, sun key, in you go. And yes! Great, they're open. I don't think we're gonna need the sun key again in here though. Just seems unlikely. Alright, sun key, you've done your job. Into my pocket with you. Wow. What are we gonna do now? Let's just look around some more. I got a feeling that something will happen. Right. We should try and figure out what the device over in the corner is for at any rate. Alright, so off. That is 5, 11. 11 is B. 9. 11, 9. 6. 11, 9, 6. 13. 11, 9, 6, 13. 11, 9, 6, 13. Think about it, all you gotta do is a couple of additional problems. If you turn a single switch on, you count as blocks and do that for every switch. It's super easy. 11, 9, 6, 13. Eleven, 9 is 20, 26, and 13. That'd be 37. Water. Is that water? What in the hell? What's going on? You come down, it's just water going somewhere. It's underneath us. That means the floor. Oh. Shinpei, look. But she. Oh, damn. I can see through the glass panels now. EDBF. On a belly of a shark. Nice. There are a couple of letters in the color of blood written on the shark's belly. It's dead. Looks like the letters are EDBF. Whatever these are for has to be in this room somewhere. Guess the shark was someone's pet, huh? It's a bit of a surprise. You die in the chair, you get dumped in the water, and it cleans up the mess. Convenient. I don't know about that. EDBF. EDBF. What? There's a strange noise coming from the chair. It looks like it's been turned on. This puzzle here was that the power had to be sent in a specific way. RPM, huh. Lock the manacles, we should probably try and figure out what the thing over in the corner does. Alright. E would be 14. Okay, do I gotta... 14 would be... Nine, that's 13. Hmm. Three, 9. Alright, I'll take a hint. What? 8, 10, 6, 9. 8, 10, 6, 9. Okay. Adjustment complete. Now proceed into execution phase. To complete the experiment, data must be collected from subject. Once preparation is finished, place subject in chair. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I thought we saw this puzzle already. What does it mean by preparation? I don't know. Got a bad feeling about this. This means one of us has got to sit in the chair. Well, 7's never going to fit in that thing. It's either you or me, Junpei. Collecting data, I wonder if it's going to run electricity through the subject. There's a human head on the screen. Maybe it's going to zap the brain with a little electricity. This really doesn't sound safe. Anyway, we still got to prepare. Alright. Well, it wants us to prepare, so maybe we ought to ask it what we need to do. Device unlocked. Please seat subject in the device.
Well, like we thought, it's not going to work unless someone sits in it.
How ironic that this would be the situation in which this slim, beautiful body is useful.
Lotus, are you sure? I can sit in it and you can solve.
Junpei's right. If we screw it up,
7 couldn't bring himself to finish the thought. His eyes fell to the floor. Where are we at in the flow of the game? Okay, there's no branching, so... What's over here? Back. I don't want to accidentally jump there in the middle of this. Junpei followed them. Beneath them was a dead shark floating underneath the glass. Perhaps it had been killed by an electric shock.
Be fine. Even if I fall in, the shark is already dead.
But
No one likes an indecisive man, Junpei. I can still give you advice from the chair too, you know.
Man, I'm having flashback, flash forwards to the third game in the series.
I just don't want to stay in this room any longer than we have to. Go over to that screen and let's get this over with.
After her words had made it clear Lotus would book no argument, she turned and walked toward the chair without hesitation. But she did not sit down. Despite what she had said, she did indeed feel hesitation. Her legs shook.
Look, do you think you could do me one last favor?
don't say last.
you're making me nervous.
I know. You're making me nervous.
Just listen. If something happens to me, I want you to tell my daughters. Tell them that I loved them very much. No, tell them that I will always love them.
Daughters?
You've got kids?
Yes, I do. I suppose they're about your age, Junpei.
Damn.
They're twins. I had them when I was young after... well, some things happened. Their names are Nona and...
Wait! Nona?
Junpei's words shut up before he even realized what he was saying. He remembered the story Seven had told him.
Aoi, Light, and Nona. Those were their names. Well, some of them. The kids that were in the experiment.
But what the hell? What's wrong with you?
Let's take a step back from Junpei.
Oh.
Seven looked just as shocked as Junpei. He blinked his eyes rapidly as if he weren't sure if he was completely
No,
awake.
it couldn't. Lotus, is your last name Kashiwabara?
Lotus's eyes went wide.
How do you know that?
Are you serious? What the hell is this? There's no way you're that kid's mom.
That kid? Wait, what do you mean that kid? Why are you acting like you've met her?
Seven's brow furrowed.
I have.
What?
Yeah, I met one of your kids.
When?
9 years ago.
Where?
On this ship.
Why were you...
It's not a short story.
Look, I don't care how long it is. Tell me, please, what happened here?
Fine, I'll tell you.
Alright. Seven glanced at Junpei, then turned back to Lotus and began to speak. It was the same story Junpei had heard only minutes before, every detail.
But... And then... That was when... From there, it looked like... Just as if, finally...
I do like this abridged version.
That's all I remember from night.
At last, Seven finished. Lotus shook her
Oh
head.
my god. Everything I've been looking for the last 9 years. The person who had all the answers was right here.
Looking for?
Yes, that's right. 9 years ago, my daughters disappeared. Then 9 days later, they came back. They never told me what happened to them over those 9 days. I took them to the doctor, but I was told they hadn't been hurt in any way. Still, I was sure that they had been through something terrible. So I couldn't bring myself to force them to talk about it. If I did, then I'd force them to relive whatever horrors they'd been through. I didn't have any choice. I had to try and ignore it and move on.
Oh.
A few months passed. Gradually, they started to act like they always had, before they disappeared. They smiled and made jokes and did all the silly things kids do. It got harder and harder for me to ask them about what happened. How could I ask them to remember that? Eventually, I knew there was no way I could do it. But I'm still a mother. I couldn't simply forget that something terrible had happened to my children. So I decided I would investigate what happened on my own. I would find out what happened during those 9 missing days.
What did you find out?
Nothing. The police pretended to be concerned, but they didn't do anything. Once the 16 children who'd gone missing came back, things were just... Even the media didn't talk about what had happened. I figured someone was probably paying or threatening them to keep their mouths shut.
Cradle Pharmaceuticals. No, probably something even bigger than that.
Cradle Pharmaceuticals.
Have you heard of them before?
No. It's the first time I've ever heard that name. 7. How did you find out that Cradle Pharmaceuticals was connected to the kidnappings in the first place?
I figured finding out whatever the victims had in common would lead me to the culprit. That's what any good cop does.
What did they have in common?
Every single one of the kids who disappeared had gone to this one hospital at some point. The hospital was one of a bunch that were under the control of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. After that, it was just about connecting the dots.
The hospital.
The hospital.
And for a while, I was trying to get some kind of information out of the kids at the hospital. One of them told a weird story.
What was it?
Have you heard about the Gansfeld experiment?
No, I haven't.
I guess all these kids had to go through it while they were at the hospital. I think it was passed off as some sort of counseling.
What did you call it again?
Oh, the Gansfeld experiment.
You said it with square brackets, that means it's important.
This is how it's set up. First, subjects Q and A are put into separate rooms, far away from one another. Then a series of video images are shown to subject Q, who is told to send the images to subject A by thinking about them. Subject A, on the other hand, is put in a large reclining chair and given a blindfold. With their senses cut off, A is asked to guess what images Q is looking at.
Oh, yes, I've heard of that. It's a famous telepathy experiment, isn't it?
Telepathy. That's how the experiment on this ship was supposed to work.
The experiment to control people, right?
Yeah. I don't know if any of the telepathy stuff really exists, but maybe someone from Cradle Pharmaceuticals bought into it.
Lotus grunted. Someone had been thinking hard for the last several minutes and finally spoke.
Even if that is the case, I still don't get how that has anything to do with any of this. The Nonary game, Zero, why we were kidnapped. What does any of that have to do with telepathy? I know I brought all this up, but I have no idea. Maybe none of this stuff is connected after all.
In that moment of silence.
No subject has been detected. Unless a subject is detected within 60 seconds,
All power will be shut down.
System recovery is estimated to take 1 hour. If you wish to proceed with the experiment, please seat subject in the restraining device.
Oh boy.
Whoa, that doesn't sound good.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going.
Oh, no, that's not what we...
Just hurry up and get it over with. Junpei, I'm counting on you.
Right.
Lotus sat down on the chair. Junpei looked at her one last time and made his way to the monitor.
Lotus, please, tell me right away if you feel anything weird.
You worry too much. Now get on with it and be a man, or June's gonna leave you.
Lotus was putting on the best act she could manage, but her legs were shaking so much that if she hadn't been sitting, she likely would have fallen down. Failure was not acceptable.
Let's do this.
Junpei took one last deep breath and stared at the monitor. Oh boy. I have no idea what I'm doing. Seven, 6, 4, 4. Okay. Let's get out of here now. Being a guinea pig is not for me. Damn straight. I don't ever want to say this thing again. You found it.
The hallway goes to the left.
Yep. Where are we at in the flow of things? Almost done. Alright, we're gonna get an ending, apparently.
Yeah, but I don't see any doors.
Guess we just need to keep going.
Right.
Yep.
Let's go.
Turned left twice before they saw the elevator.
An elevator.
Just what we need. Let's take this to C deck.
In silence, they jogged up to it. Junpei pushed the C button. The elevator motor ground away. Before long, they found themselves once again on C deck. The door opened and they stepped off.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Junpei, Lotus, and Seven nodded at one another and took off, running down the long hallway in front of them. And they ran and ran and ran. The hallway seemed endless.
I know where we need to go. The door behind the central staircase. There was a sun symbol on the keyhole of that door. And I happen to have the sun key in my pocket right now. This should open that door.
This is why they ran for the central staircase. They had run for quite some time when they arrived at the door. That door was already unlocked.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Junpei grabbed hold of the doorknob and threw it open. They rushed through and stopped cold.
What?
The terrible scene before them made their blood run cold. 3 people lay dead on the floor, covered in blood.
Why?
Junpei felt a cold sweat trickle down his spine. He couldn't breathe. His legs shook. His body felt cold, deathly cold. But his blood was boiling hot. He could feel his mind begin to fade. He couldn't think. He couldn't concentrate. His mind was blank.
What the hell? What the hell happened?
Seven's voice was weak and broken. He edged toward the bodies, his movement stiff.
Clover.
He bent down over Clover and pressed his finger to her.
Nothing.
She's dead. Suddenly Lotus moved. Before he understood what was happening, her hand was in Junpei's vest pocket.
Hey, what are you doing?
He leapt back. Lotus looked up at him, terrified.
Give me the sun key.
Why?
Why do you think we have to get out of here before the murderer comes back?
The murderer?
Murderer. The murderer. Once again, Junpei looked at the dead bodies.
Santa, Clover, and Ace. 3 people. 3 dead bodies. That means that the person who had killed them... No, it can't be true.
Give it to me.
Before Junpei could react, Lotus dove back into his pocket and came out with
Let's
the key.
go.
Without waiting for Seven or Junpei, she ran straight for the central staircase. They followed. Junpei shut his eyes and swallowed his emotions. Morning would have to wait. Soon they stood in front of the door.
Open.
Lotus shoved the sun key into the keyhole and twisted it hard. But
Why?
What happened?
Nothing. Nothing happened. I didn't feel it unlock.
Oh no. Is it the wrong key?
I don't know.
Lotus sighed, defeated, and leaned against the doorknob. She felt it twist. A small gap appeared between the door and the frame.
It's open.
What the hell is this?
Wait, you mean the door was already unlocked?
Why?
But how would I know that? Whatever, let's just go.
Lotus took a deep breath and slowly opened the door the rest of the way. Resident Evil style. Where are we in the flow of things? Alright, still got more. Let's keep going. In front of them was another hallway. It stretched out toward the bow of the ship. They began to run. Faster and faster they ran, trying desperately to reach the end of the hallway. After a few seconds later, they were there. In front of them stood a massive metal door. They were all breathing heavily as Junpei
What the hell is this door? I can't see anything that looks like a doorknob or switch or lever or card reader or anything. How the fuck are we supposed to open this?
We don't have a choice. We're gonna have to go back.
No, I'm not going back there. There is a murderer back there.
There was more stark terror in Lotus's voice than the authority. She was almost
I
begging.
don't see any other doors.
As she spoke, Seven stepped toward the door in front of them, as if to illustrate that it was only a door.
No way.
It opened by itself.
It's an automatic door?
Look, guys, I've got a really bad feeling about all this. The other doors were already unlocked, and this one's automatic. We haven't seen anything like this before.
Bad feeling.
How could their situation possibly get worse? 3 people were already
We've hit
dead.
bottom. This can't get any worse.
Oh, it can always get worse.
Shit! Hey, Junpei!
Step through the door.
I can't take this anymore. No one can.
No, we're still not on the last one. Okay. Whatever hope Junpei had managed to summon disappeared.
No. It's a lie. It's gotta be. This can't be real. No. It's impossible. If it's a dream, just wake up already. Someone please tell me it's all just a joke. I'm imagining things. Yep, that's it. This is all obviously a lie. It's a big, elaborate trick. An illusion or something. Or a dream. It's made up.
It wasn't real, right, June? No. Codenames meant nothing now. Connie. Junpei cried out and leapt through the door. He flew to her side, his heart like a stone in his chest.
Connie! Connie, hang on!
Junpei swept her up and shook her by the shoulder. She moaned and her eyes flooded open, but only barely.
Connie!
Jumpy?
Her face was pale and her lips were dry and cracked. Her eyes were blank and cloudy, they stared straight at Junpei but saw nothing. Junpei put his hand against the small of her back to hold her up. It felt warm and wet. He lifted his hand up. It was covered in blood.
Connie, there's so much blood. What the hell happened to you? How did this happen?
It was all he could do not to break into tears.
I'm sorry.
Her voice was thin. A minuscule thread was the only thing keeping her with him.
I might not make it.
No way. No way I am going to let you die. I am gonna save you. I promise.
Thank you, Jumpy. Thank you so much for everything. I was really happy to see you again, Jumpy. Really happy.
Don't give me that I was crap. You're gonna see me again lots more times. You just gotta hang on. All right, Connie? You... Ow, what can I do? Damn it!
He looked up from Connie, desperate for something, anything.
What's that?
And he saw it. A small submarine.
Submarine? Wait, what on earth is a submarine doing here?
No, that didn't matter. Nothing mattered except saving Connie. That was the only thing he wanted.
That's it!
Junpei turned his head back to look down at her.
All right. There's a submarine over there. I'm gonna go see if it works.
No, don't go. Please, don't go. Please, just stay with me, okay? I want to be close to you, Jumpy. When I...
Connie.
Jumpy, did you know you meant a lot to me when we were kids? I liked you for a long time, Junpei. A really long time.
Junpei's vision had gone blurry. It took him a moment to realize his eyes were filled with tears. He could feel a piercing point of heat deep in his heart, like a white-hot flame.
Do you remember we hung out a lot when we were kids? We went to the pool and to the fair. Do you remember playing snowball at the school? They're all memories I'll never forget. All of those moments are treasures to me. But I also wanted to go to a lot of other places with you, a lot more. But that won't happen now.
No. I mean, yes. Yes, it will happen. We'll go all sorts of places, Connie. You hear me? I promise. We'll go wherever you want.
Really?
Yeah, really. I swear.
That makes me happy.
She said it to herself over and over, a weak smile creasing her tired face.
Jumpy, I feel sleepy.
No, Connie, don't fall asleep.
Thank you, Jumpy. Thank you so much.
Her eyes were slowly closing. Junpei screamed even as he felt his throat go
Connie!
hoarse.
Connie! Connie!
Time passed. Junpei wept, curled around Connie's body. He cried and cried until he had no tears left. When the last tear fell, Junpei was no more. His body remained, but only his empty shell. Somewhere he heard a bell ring. It was the clock at the central staircase. rang 5 times, then
5
faded.
o'clock.
Quietly, gently, softly, he sat Connie down on the floor. Slowly, Junpei stood. Only then did he realize that Seven Lotus had not followed him. Where had they gone? Slowly, he looked around the room. There was nothing, no sign that they'd ever been here. It felt as though every part of Junpei's body was made of lead. Slowly, he made his way to the door he had come through. As he approached, it opened, sliding apart, the sound like a grinding stone. Junpei passed through the gate and into the hallway. His heart rattled in his chest, an empty, lifeless thing. It had been so utterly broken that there was nothing left to feel. When he saw their bodies, he simply stared. It was a lake, a sea of blood. 2 bodies lay in it. There was no need to check. There was no breath left in them. His eyes lit on Lotus's wrist. Her bracelet, it was gone. He stared, it meant nothing to him. He didn't care anymore. He couldn't care anymore. Junpei's body felt numb. Part of him knew the lump of lead in his chest had once been a heart. He couldn't quite remember what it had been for. Tears poured from his eyes in great streams. He wasn't sure why. He gave up trying to make them stop. He turned around, the door opened again, and slowly, numbly, he walked through it. He kept walking. Why stop? An object set in motion, simple inertia, carried him forward. Eventually, he found himself in front of the submarine. His arm reached for the hatch. And then he was floating in water. His eyes stared down into it. He couldn't see the bottom. His back was hot. Dimly, he felt the blade of a knife in it. Who? One dead body lay behind door number 5. The body of the 9th man. Another lay in the shower room. The body of Snake. At the central staircase were 3 more. A Santa and Clover. Just outside the door were 2 more corpses. Those of Seven Lotus. And in this very room lay the body that had once been Connie. Now Junpei would join them. Who then had killed them all? Who? Junpei let out one last breath. Faintly, he felt the bubbles creep up the sides of his face. His consciousness faded quickly, dissolving away into the cold, gentle lapping of the water. Alright. Alright, so that was the sub ending. We got one more bad ending to get through before we can see the true ending and call it a day on this game. So, yeah. Looking over some of the notes for this game, it seems like this game was also released for iOS, although all the puzzles were taken out, so it's just the visual novel stuff. Which seems like the end, or is it? Alright. We all die by a yellow submarine. That's the achievement I get? Alright. Yes. Alright, we got those. You've done that. Alright, so we are going for another ending. That's not the one we want. And 6. So 1 through 5. 7. And 6. And wait, door 8. We haven't been through door 8 yet. Hmm. 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 So I'm going to stop the stream here, make some decisions, then come back. We'll see this soon. All right. Bye.